Content warnings for this video include foodborne illnesses and unhealthy food handling procedures. Any mention of illegal activities within this video are only alleged and have not been proven in a court of law. All things discussed within this video should be considered either the opinion of myself or the people I am sourcing. Enjoy. Crumbl Cookie, as the name implies, is a cookie store in the United States that sells gourmet-style cookies, although some people like to contest whether or not they're really gourmet cookies, but that's not the point of this video. And their big gimmick is that their menu changes every week to entice people to either visit their website or to come to the store in person to see what the new menu items are. They have been in a handful of controversies revolving around influencers not disclosing when they're sponsored by Crumbl and the amount of calories present within their cookies, but overall these kinds of things are pretty minor in the grand landscape of atrocities committed by major corporations. In fact, Crumbl in this instance is only involved more so against their will, you could say. This story actually takes place in a land down under, a place where Crumbl does not have any official locations open. Hey there, I'm here to interrupt your regularly scheduled entertainment. I'm actually in the middle of scripting out another iceberg type video. Hopefully it won't be 3 hours long, but the possibility is always out there. But this situation is just so hilariously out of pocket to me, and it just happened a couple of days ago. And I haven't seen anybody else mention it on YouTube yet, although I did see Swell Entertainment tweet about it, so I imagine Amanda is going to be putting out a video pretty soon. My eyes are open. I was browsing through TikTok, as one is prone to do when they're sick and depressed and in need of a good giggle, when I came across a video by a creator called Crumbl talking about a situation unfolding in Australia from over the weekend.
I don't know if you guys have seen the Crumbl Cookie drama that's been happening.
Revolving around Crumbl cookies getting people sick, and how they first heard about the reviews coming out that the cookies were stale and disgusting, and she couldn't really believe the quality difference because here in America, where they're fresh, they're relatively considered pretty tasty.
I've woken up this morning, I'm seeing people's reviews. Everybody's reviewing them. They're like, these are disgusting. They taste stale, ill, disgusting. And I was like, really? Crumbl Cookie? Like, that's so rare. Every time I see a Crumbl Cookie video, people either say like they're mad sweet or they're high in calories or they're really tasty. I never hear like stale or whatever.
But when she looked deeper into the situation, she found out something a little alarming. The Crumbl Cookie shop in Australia is not affiliated at all with Crumbl Cookies here in America.
However, it's been revealed the pop-up wasn't an official event organised by Crumbl, it was instead put on by Aussie fans.
That's right, this pop-up shop that looks like it's attached to like a corner of a gas station or a corner store in the middle of a random street was set up by some opportunistic randos who saw a very wildly strange chance to bring Crumbl to Australia in arguably one of the most illegal ways possible.
Organisers of an Aussie Crumbl Cookie pop-up store have been forced to speak out after their weekend launch was labelled a scam.
Strap in. So, the story goes like this. These people had the idea, and without asking first or checking any legal entity to try to open like a franchise location or anything similar,
they've then included trademark concerns. Crumbl's trademarks are available here. I don't know if this person knows what a trademark is. There's another ABN in Australia called Crumbl Cookie Sydney, and they're saying that this is not them. So my question is, what is your ABN? Because if you are going to have any business in Australia, you need to have it registered. So if this isn't your ABN, it's someone else, then what is your ABN? Your pop-up Crumbl scam shop, what ABN did you set it up under? There probably wasn't one.
They rented out a space, printed out some Crumbl-style branding to tape up on the windows of their building, hired some help, or convinced some friends and family to help out, who knows. They then flew out from Australia to America and bought a ton of cookies from what I can only assume was a variety of locations, because what singular location is going to sell someone an alleged $6,000 worth of cookies at once? And then, without any refrigeration, they packed up the cookies as if they were normal luggage and flew them back out to their little operation Australia to then resell these $5 cookies for $17.50 a piece.
Hundreds of Sydney-siders patiently lined up to get their hands on a Crumbl cookie, which set them back $17.50.
And I know that was quite the run-on sentence, but do you understand just how absolutely bonkers that is? Typically, when someone is a fan of a concept to the point that they want to, like, spread the love, so to speak, they usually do it by trying to make their own similar concept as more of a competition to the original brand. I really want to emphasize that it looks like these people used home printers, and copier paper to make these little signs to tape up around the windows of the spot that they rented. Just looking at like the presentation of the building from these videos, this screamed scam more than the Willy Wonka experience or the Bridgerton ball, in my opinion. At least those events look like they were kind of rented out in a reasonable space for those purposes. This building looks like you're about to be robbed at knife point. No offense to the people that live in that neighborhood. Secondly, I really need to emphasize the lack of refrigeration from their little excursion from America back to Australia with their loot. If you've never tried Crumbl cookies before, you should know that a lot of them come chilled or with frosting and toppings that need to stay cool. And according to a lot of the people that seen the cookies that they were selling at this pop-up store, they were potentially selling cookies that were at least 6 days old. So it comes as no surprise that people were reporting that not only were the cookies stale and kind of gross, but also that they felt sick after eating them. With the virality of the advertised social media post and the shop's launch garnering like a lot of sales and complaints targeted at official Crumbl social media accounts, the Instagram account that the organizers made has since been shut down to try to prevent the advertising of more events. I'm not sure if like Crumbl themselves shut it down or if Instagram shut them down for impersonation, but the TikTok page that they made is still up the last time I looked, but all of the videos that they had posted have since been removed. And again, I'm not sure if they themselves took all their videos down or if they were forcibly removed. Before their TikTok videos were removed, however, they had promised that they were going to be bringing more cookies from America over, alluding to updating their menu as Crumbl updates their official one here, promising this scheme is here to stay. Obviously, this is like hugely illegal, massive copyright infringement, especially since they're not only just reselling the cookies on their own, but they're also copying all of Crumbl's other identifying characteristics, like the name, the logo, the color scheme, and even the boxes that the cookies come in.
You must know, in the Crumbl cookie terms and conditions, under Section 10, Prohibited Uses, it states that you agree not to use the services to impersonate or attempt to impersonate Crumbl. This includes their branding, meaning those boxes that you purchased, yeah, not allowed.
Truly, these people wanted to open their own branch of Crumbl and just went for it instead of trying to go through any of the legal channels. It's honestly hilarious how dumb it is to just do this. It reminds me a lot of that part in Coming to America and the McDonald's thing.
Me and the McDonald's people, we got this little misunderstanding. See, they're McDonald's. I'm McDowell's. Huh?
Life imitates art, or whatever the phrase is, I guess. People who have become wise to these copycats have reported them to the Australian equivalent of the Better Business Bureau. I think the ACCC has more authority than the BBB, but I don't know, I don't live in Australia.
The Australian Competitor and Consumer Commission states that making a false or misleading representation can result in a $2.5 million fine for an individual. Crumbl Sydney claimed to have flown to LA and purchased 700 cookies from Crumbl in America and brought them back to Australia. If you know anything about Australian border control, or if you've flown into Australia, you would know they are so strict. I would even claim they are one of the strictest in the world. Yes, you are allowed to bring in biscuits and cakes from overseas into Australia. However, they must be for personal consumption, meaning they cannot be sold. And any fillings or toppings must be cooked with the item. The cookies aren't put in the oven with the icing on them, so didn't do that. Also, one of the cookies that was being sold was called Crumbl Cookie Peanut Butter featuring Snickers. Bestie. If nuts are packed in small pieces of confectionery, they must be in tin sealed under vacuum.
And Crumbl has only commented on the event in regards to the people needing to try the cookies fresh in America, and to clarify that this shop is not affiliated with them whatsoever.
Check this out.
Okay!
You're not affiliated with me.
The ACCC has actually responded saying that this is kind of out of their hands, which has caused people to then turn to a different entity called the NSW, Fair Trading, to see what can be done about this. According to one of the Sydney organizers, he claims that there were plans to put up stores in other cities too, but due to quote-unquote internal conflicts, that idea has been put on hold. My tinfoil hat tells me that the other store locations were abruptly canceled when other people realized that this was going to end up in a lawsuit one way or the other, but that's just what I think. The organizers have also said that they're ready and willing to stop what they're doing if Crumbl issues them an official cease and desist notice, but since they haven't done so yet, they will continue on as normal. Which I can only imagine that the official notice to knock it off is coming sooner rather than later, especially if it's true that these resellers are getting people sick from mishandling these cookies.
Let's begin with the more concerning side of things, which is the regulatory side. Selling of food products in Australia has to meet certain standards, and those standards require food to be kept in certain ways. Now, is it arguable that the food was kept in accordance with those safety standards? Yes, but was it kept in accordance with what if I was Crumbl's head management, would want? No. Was it sold using the appropriate mechanisms and modalities? No. And that's a big issue because food safety is important.
Legal matters take a lot longer than just a couple of days, unfortunately, and the Australian pop-up did take place over the weekend, so I imagine that in a couple more days, after they've had time to do their research and come to the conclusions that they need to, Crumbl is going to probably be issuing them the cease and desist notice, if not just straight up a lawsuit. What really gets me, though, is just how hard they tried to make this look like it was officially Crumbl doing this pop-up store, regardless of the claims that they've made. According to the articles I'm seeing, they use the same editing styles that Crumbl employs in their own social media campaigns.
This is a look at their TikTok page, and this would clearly suggest that you are Crumbl. Crumbl landing in Australia, you were putting the dates, 1 day Crumbl pop-up store in Sydney. This is you clearly misleading consumers to believe that this was Crumbl. You're also using their packaging and branding, and nowhere in any of this did you state that we are just fans reselling, because if you had done that from the start, you would have been called out as scammers from the get-go.
They claim that they weren't purposely trying to mislead, regardless of what it appears to the outside average consumer, but it's unclear if the info in their bio that said that they were unaffiliated with the official Crumbl stores was always there, or something they added after people realized the ruse.
I noticed that they've also put in their bio, not endorsed by Crumbl, just fans importing. They didn't have this from the beginning. They've only put that in their bio to try and cover the tracks since everyone's called them out.
I think this entire situation is just so ridiculous, if I'm being completely honest. Of course, there's a supply and demand type of issue going on here.
Secondly, a lot of people have said, they never said they were crumbed. They just, they said that they're fans. Firstly, I don't know if that's exactly true. I think a lot of the branding would suggest to me, as an impartial third party, that they are crumbed, that they're related to the head brand, that they have a relationship with that brand. Nothing in this suggested to me that, hey, we're fans who are buying things and selling them at a markup, and that's okay. And a lot of people have said, but you've asked for the cookies, you got the cookies, what's the difference? So when a business sells a product, the product is a ambassador of the business. It's their business's chance to say, this is what we do. And if people try this cookie and have a terrible experience with it because it's not the authentic cookie, or it's stored in, quite frankly, disgusting conditions over a week before it's sold to you, and you have a bad experience, you would be entitled to say as the head brand, this has damaged my brand.
But I see Crumbl as the kind of business that would have eventually branched out to other countries given time.
And yes, Crumbl, the proper company, holds the trademark of Crumbl in Australia, which means that no one else can use that name or the branding.
But besides that, an unfortunate reality of the world is that sometimes you just can't get something from another country if you're not willing or able to travel to go get it. And that's knowledge that you're just going to have to live with. Even if I really want those cushions from the Nintendo Museum in Japan. Since it is apparent that the Sydney Crumbl operation wants to continue what they're doing, I just hope that they end up learning how to properly transport the food that they're trying to resell. Last thing they need to do is give someone botulism and potentially kill them. Maybe have a shorter turnaround time for the cookies than just 6 days, and lower those gosh darn prices, because those prices are not saying, we want to share something that we love, it's saying, hand over your f***ing wallets. In a more ideal scenario, right, the organizers would use these cookies that they got from Crumbl to kind of formulate their own recipes and set up a similar type of bakery on their own, but they've misplaced their ambitions and they have a little too much money on their hands, in my opinion. They want to be a copycat. They don't want to use their love of Crumbl as an inspiration for their own creativity. They just want to profit from a pre-established and well-loved brand. Time will tell how many more trips to America that they'll be able to make before Crumbl figures out who they are and puts them on a list of people to never sell to anymore. And of course, we are waiting with bated breath for the cease and desist letter to be issued, or just the lawsuit. As always, please be polite in the comments section. I want to see what you guys think of this situation. If you don't have any thoughts in particular, one way or the other, name one of your favorite cookies from Crumbl if you've ever been there. I really like the strawberry shortcake, like ice cream bar one that they had a while ago. I really wonder when that would be back in rotation. Like this video, subscribe for more, do everything that the algorithm likes, you know the drill. This video, like all of my content, is brought to you by Patreon, so thank you so much to Ippo, Alec, Ashley, and Mel for subscribing. Also, thank you to the channel member, Megan May. Since I had this silly little intermission, it's time for me to dive back into the depths of the Arctic for my iceberg. This is Finn, signing off, until next time.
I can't move on till I let go. I feel so lost, never at home. Need to be strong, every breath hold. 'Cause I can't move on till I let go.